So I wanted to follow up on the video I made on Christ on Christmas Eve. I was provoked or inspired to make this because of a comment left by J.D. Kremen a few minutes ago. He writes, "What is the big picture? How are we bound together? Are we different than other animals? If so, how? You seem to have some insight. What is this insight exactly, and how did you arrive at this conclusion? If you don't answer these questions, I'll assume you're repeating stuff from Joseph Campbell, Alan Watts, and various other New Age thinkers, none of which have any logical backing to support their claims." Well, to begin with, about whether I have insight, no, I don't have any insight. If there is any insight here, it has me, which is to say that if I succeed in painting a picture which you see through and are able to understand, then the insight will be with you. And maybe I acted as a midwife, but I don't have it. If there's any insight at all, it's produced in the transaction which we share. And about the conclusion which I arrived at, which you're implying has no logical backing, I'm not sure which conclusion that is. So if you want to clarify exactly, if you're talking about the sense of the kingdom of heaven being within, or each individual human being an embodiment of the symbol of Christ who suffers for the love of others, then I suppose it's not really a conclusion, though, and of course there's no logical backing. I'm not talking about a system of abstractions which we can calculate. I'm talking about our existence. So in terms of the big picture, you could in a sense say that it's not very big and it's not a picture. I am here speaking to you, trying to paint a picture, as I said, in the hopes that insight is produced. But what I am trying to paint is not itself a picture. It can't be seen. It's the within of things, as Teilhard de Chardin would say. It's the spirit which is behind the movements of nature. So, this is why you need faith. And I don't like to conflate faith with belief, which, when I talk about Christian archetypes and symbols, I don't consider them to be things which you either literally believe in or don't. I think that's misinterpreting the role which religious symbology plays in human psychology. If you don't participate in these archetypes through the Christian mythos, then you participate in some similar expression of the same archetypes with another mythos. It's just a matter of discovering which it happens to be. And when it comes to the big picture, it's not big or a picture. As it's said in the Bible, the kingdom, the gates to the kingdom of heaven are pearls, implying that they're as small as the hole in a pearl. You can't get through them if you think that heaven is a place. Heaven is a state of mind, a state of consciousness. And, once we recognize that this role that Christ plays in the Christian story of saving us is not to return us to paradise, but is to reveal that paradise was already present, and that the fall was produced by our own fear, our own inability to love. This is how I interpret the Christian mythos, though. I don't normally call myself a Christian. I don't think I need to. I'm as much a Christian as a Buddhist, as a Hindu, as a Jew, as a Taoist, as a Confucian, or a Platonist. I'm all of these clothes, and in a sense, that which binds us together is none of them, because it's at a deeper or higher level. I mean, choose your metaphor. God or Godhead or the ultimate or the divine is what binds us together, which makes all the differences same, makes the many one. That is God. And again, not something I think one believes in or doubts. You can only do that if, again, you're thinking of religion in a literalistic way. If you think of it in terms of the psychological role that it plays in human experience, then it's not a matter of belief, but of knowing, of participating in the unfolding of reality in a meaningful way. And for those that don't think that there is any meaning inherent to the unfolding of the cosmos, that itself is another story, another mythos that you're telling yourself. It's a self-inflicted wound, in other words. But again, the suffering that you go through at the end of the day, no matter what mythos you are covering the archetypal pool of evolution itself with, you're still suffering for the love of others, because even if you don't want to call it God or the divine, the cosmos itself is bound together. It's one whole. There's no outside. There's not a second. It's just one. And we individual beings within it have no place to be but in this one cosmos. So on a purely scientific level, there is evidence enough for the necessity of religion, of a practice which gets us back in touch with the whole, of which we are parts. But again, we are parts that are intimately tied to the whole, and we express the power and intelligence of the whole as individuals. So the last question you asked about animals, I'll try to say real quick here that human beings do not differ ultimately from animals. We represent the same evolutionary urge toward consciousness. There's no missing link. There's a continual movement towards more and more complexity, more and more intelligence, more and more sight, an ability to know. And human beings just represent the most developed phase, at least on this planet, of nature's ability to know itself. And this isn't to say that this knowledge hasn't come at a cost for the rest of nature. And it's not to say that we've fully appreciated the knowledge that we're capable of having as a species, but we've gained at least a premonition of its possibility. And so it's that premonition that differs, or that separates us from animals, though we're still made of the same flesh and blood. So hopefully I answered your questions, but if I didn't, let me know. Thanks for listening.